Money choices reveal who we truly are, and today we're exploring a fascinating financial dilemma that's been dividing people. Would you choose $100,000 right now, or $1,000 every month for life?
That's such an intriguing question. What makes people choose one over the other?
Well, the psychology behind this choice is fascinating. Research shows that when presented with similar scenarios, about 60% of people under 40 choose the lump sum, while those over 60 overwhelmingly prefer the monthly payment.
You know what's interesting about that statistic? It really highlights how our life stage influences our financial thinking.
Exactly right. And here's where it gets even more compelling. Studies have shown that people who've experienced financial instability are nearly 3 times more likely to choose the monthly payment, regardless of age.
That makes me think about risk tolerance and how our past experiences shape our decisions. What about the pure numbers, though?
Let's break those down. If you invested that $100,000 in an index fund averaging 8% annually, you're looking at about $8,000 a year in returns, approximately $666 monthly. But here's the catch. That requires incredible discipline.
And I imagine most people wouldn't actually invest the full amount, would they?
That's exactly right. Financial advisors report that when people receive windfall amounts like this, on average, they spend 40% within the first year. It's just human nature.
Well, that certainly changes the equation. The monthly $1,000 starts looking more attractive when you consider the temptation factor.
And here's another fascinating aspect. Behavioral economists have found that people with guaranteed monthly income streams report 23% higher life satisfaction compared to those with equivalent lump sums.
That's really interesting about the satisfaction levels. I wonder if it's related to the stress of managing larger amounts?
Actually, yes. Studies on lottery winners show that those who receive annuity payments are 37% more likely to maintain their wealth over time compared to those who take lump sums. It's about removing the burden of major financial decisions.
That reminds me of something I read about decision fatigue, how having too many choices can actually be paralyzing.
Precisely. And this connects to a broader psychological concept called choice architecture. When we structure decisions in certain ways, it can significantly impact outcomes. Let's consider adding a constraint to our scenario.
What kind of constraint are you thinking about?
What if the $100,000 came with a mandatory 5-year investment period? No withdrawals, no exceptions. Financial planners suggest this could increase the likelihood of long-term wealth building by over 80%.
That's a fascinating modification. It essentially removes the self-control variable from the equation.
And here's where age becomes crucial. For a 25-year-old, that $100,000 invested at 8% could grow to over $1.8 million by retirement. That's nearly double what they'd receive from the monthly payment over the same period.
Though that assumes they can stomach the market volatility, right?
Exactly. And research shows that about 70% of people significantly underestimate their risk tolerance when faced with real market conditions. It's easy to say you'll stay calm during a downturn, but actually doing it is another matter.
You know what this conversation is really highlighting? How financial decisions are rarely just about the numbers.
That's so true. In fact, psychological studies have shown that our financial decisions are influenced by at least 6 major factors: risk tolerance, time perspective, self-control, financial literacy, past experiences, and current life circumstances.
Speaking of financial literacy, wouldn't education play a huge role in this decision?
Absolutely right. Studies show that people with higher financial literacy are 45% more likely to choose the lump sum option. But here's the twist. They're also more likely to have regrets about their choice later.
That's surprising. Why would more educated people have more regrets?
It comes down to something called maximizer syndrome. The more you know about financial options, the more you tend to second-guess your decisions. The monthly payment people often report higher satisfaction simply because they don't constantly wonder if they could have done better.
That really shows how sometimes less choice can lead to more happiness.
And it circles back to our original point. This isn't just a financial decision. It's a window into how we think about security, opportunity, and what truly matters to us. The answer reveals as much about our psychology as it does about our financial acumen.
Looking at all these angles, it's amazing how much depth there is to what seemed like a simple choice.
Indeed, and perhaps that's the most valuable insight. Understanding that our financial choices are deeply personal, reflecting not just our circumstances, but our values, fears, and hopes for the future.
Subscribe to Progress Pulse for more bite-sized insights on success, mindset, money, and growth. New episodes drop weekly, designed to fuel your focus and elevate your thinking. Success is a process, and you're right on time.